Welcome back, true believers and spectacular Spidey fans, to another Spider-Man PS4-ish related video. And I know it's been quite a while since you have seen my face on screen. I know I've been away doing tons of Spider-Man PS4 videos, radioactive replays, all that good stuff. And also just been busy with life in general, of course. But mainly, this video, while you're seeing my face again, is actually an important one because I am in fact responding to a fellow YouTuber who you all know, of course, is Venom2000000. If you guys didn't know and if you missed it, I was actually a part of a 6-hour-long live stream with Venom2000000, a couple of other Spidey Squad members and Venom2000000's friends, and it was pretty interesting and overall, really good discussion overall about Spider-Man PS4. We talked about our worries, discussed about it, different topics on it, so if you missed it, I highly recommend you watch all of it, not just some of it, just all of it, because it is an important topic to watch. I was late for the live stream, so I came in at like the 1 hour plus mark out of the 6-hour long mark it was. And also, again, fellow Spidey Squad members in there, Spidey Scare Boy and Waru Boy were in there. So we had a lot of things to discuss about in that live stream. And recently, if you guys didn't see it, Venom2000000 on his channel posted 2 recent Spider-Man PS4 topic videos discussing about the game, certain aspects of it. And I would not be responding to his videos if I wasn't part of the live stream that I was in with him and his friends and the other Spidey Squad members, because again, we talked for a really long time. At least when I was in there, it was like almost 5+ hours of just discussing purely about this game, about Insomniac, about Marvel games, about all the different aspects of it. And then he made these 2 videos afterwards, and I'm not mad at all, because again, he has his own opinion, I have my own opinion about the game, you guys have all your own opinions. I'm just personally kind of disappointed, and why I'm saying disappointed and not mad, I'm not mad at all, I'm just kind of actually physically disappointed, is because when we were talking, we talked about a lot of stuff. Again, we talked about every aspect, almost every main aspect of the game, and when he did these 2 videos, I feel like he didn't really take my points into consideration. Again, he doesn't hate the game at all. A couple of other Spidey Squad members are kind of feeling the same way he is, and how to best summarize Venom2000000's feelings on the game is that he is cautiously optimistic. That's the best way to put it. That also goes for fellow Spidey Squad member and awesome YouTuber all around, The Amazing Lucas. Again, that goes for Venom2000000. Even Spidey Skater Boy, he's starting to feel kind of cautiously optimistic. Before, he was super excited like I am and some of the other Spidey Squad members are. Now he's kind of starting to slowly lower his expectations, which is fine, because again, you don't want to be totally going in there saying this is going to be the greatest Spider-Man game of all time. I'm personally physically and emotionally optimistic that Insomniac can, in fact, make the greatest Spider-Man game of all time, because that's how I personally feel. If you feel a different way, excellent. Make a video about it or put it on Twitter and discuss your own opinions about it. That is fine. But when Venom did these 2 specific videos discussing about different things that we talked about in the live stream and things that we brought up and things that I mentioned in my videos, all my Spider-Man PS4 videos, I feel like he didn't really see or just listen to what I was personally saying during the live stream and what I've been saying all around in my Spider-Man PS4 videos. Same thing with all the other Spidey Squad members. So you're going to hear me most likely ramble a bit, but I do have my phone right here. I have a lot of things written down about different points that he said in each of his videos, and I'm going to bring that up in different parts of this video. And again, there's no background music, there's no editing. This is just a straight discussion from me to you about his videos. Go watch them, please. They're in the description. You might love his videos. Totally fine. Me, personally, I have a few issues with them. So, the first video that he did was one called Why the PlayStation 4 Spider-Man game, in parentheses, Marvel's Spider-Man PS4, will be better than Spider-Man 2 PS2. Now, first of all, he did discuss a lot on the specific reasons on why it has to be better than Spider-Man 2, and also why it needs to be better than Spider-Man 2. Totally fine. I didn't hear him once say why or it will be better than the game. Why it will be better than Spider-Man PS4. I didn't hear you, Venom, if you're watching, talk about that at all. Your points about why it has to be better than Spider-Man 2 and why it needs to be better than Spider-Man 2 were great. But when you say that it will be better, I do agree with that. It does need to be better. It will, in fact, be better than Spider-Man 2. But you didn't really describe that. Again, that specific reason, the will part, I didn't hear you describe about that at all. And I watched your videos like 3 times, both of these videos. Then the next thing he says in this video, again, I'm going to be summarizing like the most important points in each of his videos. But again, I could be doing it a disservice, so please go watch it on your own free time. The next thing he says, if Spider-Man PS4 is bad, if this first ever big budget AAA Marvel game is bad, then other people will not care about the other Marvel games. So, first off, again, Marvel is a publisher for Spider-Man PS4. They're the ones who own the rights to Spider-Man because it's their character. Sony's another publisher because it is a character who is exclusively on one console, the PlayStation 4. But Insomniac is the developer. They are the ones in control of Spider-Man PS4. It's their game. They choose whatever they want to do with it, and they have free range to do whatever they want with it. So that's on them. The other Marvel games he talked about in the video was the Avengers Project, which you guys don't know. There is an Avengers game being made by Square Enix, the people who make Kingdom Hearts, Eidos Montreal, the people who do Deus Ex Machina, I think that's how you say it, and also Crystal Dynamics, who made the Tomb Raider game. So that's another big budget Marvel game that's in fact coming out from Marvel. And they also said that they have other Marvel games in plan in store from Square Enix that they're going to be making eventually. And yeah, you know, if Spider-Man PS4 is bad, he's saying that other people won't care about the other games. That makes some sense. Because again, Insomniac has no control over the Avengers Project, just like Square Enix has no control over Spider-Man PS4. So it's two different animals. They both do come from the same publisher of Marvel games, but it's their characters that these developers are using. So it's like the same thing like with if Naughty Dog ever made a Squirrel Girl game or something stupid like that, you know, then it's their character that they're making for their own game. It's not like, oh, Marvel's making this game. No, Marvel is just there helping them out with it, and that's why I'm saying that the Avengers Project and Spider-Man PS4 are like two different creatures. So it's like, if you say that Spider-Man PS4, if it's bad, then no one's going to care about these other games. Not true, and that's also the case, because actually, oddly enough, some people are actually more excited for the Avengers Project than Spider-Man PS4. Crazy enough. And we only have like a 52-second trailer about that game, and from the recent news, it might turn out to be an MMORPG, so we have no idea. But that's the case. Again, you can't compare these two games because some people have expectations for Spider-Man PS4 and the others for the Avengers Project and other Marvel games. But anyways, his second point that he made in this video, to quote him directly, he said, people are going to damage control this game regardless. So this is a big problem for me, of course, because again, I was in the live stream with him and we talked about it. Again, there's a difference between damage controlling something and then actually informing people about certain things that is happening with the game. So, damage control, for you guys do not know what that term means. For example, if I'm talking about The Amazing Spider-Man 1, I just reviewed that game yesterday, and in that game I said the webs directly stick to the sky. That's a big flaw of the game, they stick directly to the sky. So if someone were to damage control that, they would say, no, they attach to a blimp or a helicopter that's above them, you just can't see it. Or, oh no, the webs are so long that they can attach to a planet. Like that's, you know, kind of like what Godzilla Mendoza said in that one retrospective episode they did to reference that. But that's damage controlling, you know, basically saying something is flat out bad, but then a fan would say, no, it's not bad. It's just that you didn't really get the whole thing. It's like, okay, again, there's nothing to damage control for this game yet. The fact that there's other things that they have influenced from past Spider-Man games, again, Insomniac and Marvel games continuously, if you guys have watched all the interviews, what they've said on Twitter, what they keep saying on all forms of social media, if you guys watch it, and again, Venom, if you're watching, I don't know if you've seen all the interviews, so that's why what the problems I have with your videos is because I don't know if you've watched all their interviews. I don't know if you have, and if you have, then I don't know why you're kind of making some of these statements. But basically, again, they're looking at everything. Again, they're looking at all past Spider-Man games, looking at all the movies, all the animation from Marvel, all the comic book stuff, everything. So that's why, again, when people say, oh, you shouldn't damage control something, there's a difference between, again, saying, oh, no, the game's going to be perfect, and saying, oh, you know what, this one aspect of the game is pretty bad. Because, again, I've made a video talking about my issues of the game flat out. I said I don't like how the suit looks this year because I like the textures of the suit from E3 2016's trailer than E3 2017's. That's one of my points. That's not damage controlling. Another point is the parkour section of the game. The parkour looks great in the game, but there's no people in that building, in the office building, in the demo. Again, they said it's a weekend, so there's no people there on the weekend, but if that's the case, then they should have showed that demo on a weekday, where there are people there and working and doing their jobs. So that's stuff that you can talk about. That's easily stuff that you can, you know, comment on and point out flaws with and stuff. But the fact that saying that, oh, you know, damage controlling is what people are going to do regardless because they love this game, like they're pretty much like, you know, super Insomniac fanboys, I just have a lot of faith in Insomniac. I have a lot of faith in this game. I have a lot of faith in the final product of this game when it does come out next year in 2018, because right now it's, you know, late 2017, so we still got you know, a little bit more than a year to wait, so it's crazy, and, you know, yeah, it's crazy. So, yeah. Next point he makes is that the general public does not care about Marvel in regards to Spider-Man PS4. So it's like the same thing with Batman Arkham Knight. So, oh, it's a Batman game. So the general public, like, what? I don't care about DC. I just care about Batman. Okay, but then clearly you like DC if you like Batman, so clearly you also like Marvel if you like Spider-Man. So the general public does care about Marvel, and that there's the same thing with all their movies. Like, look at all of Marvel's movies that they're coming out now. Marvel's movies are some of the most financially profitable movies ever made. It's a whole genre now. The superhero movie, like movies, it's a genre of movies now, and that's absolutely nuts. So it's the same thing with games. Like, oh, we have first-person shooters. We have MMORPGs. And then guess what? We also have superhero games. It's another genre of games. So the fact that you're saying that people don't care about Marvel, like the general public of people don't care about Marvel, makes no... I don't understand. Like, clearly you would if you wanted to buy Spider-Man because you like comic books. And that's the general public of people because they like Spider-Man. Like, oh, I only like Spider-Man. I hate everyone else, but I only like Spider-Man. Okay, I get that. But still, if you care about a comic book character, you should at least know about the company that's coming from. That's respecting what it is and also just knowing your general knowledge of it in general. So that's, you know, respecting the general public's view on these games. So again, I don't really understand what you meant by that at all. Again, to quote him, this is a really important quote from his video. Marvel wants to have a game at the level in terms of popularity, not quality, but popularity, in terms of Call of Duty and Assassin's Creed. And in order for them to do that, they have to start off with quality. Yeah, dude, of course. Why would they want to focus only on the popularity of the character? So it makes it sound like you're saying, again, I have no idea what Venom thinks. I can't read his mind. I don't know. This is just my personal views on what he said in his video. When he says that it has to be in popularity of Call of Duty and Assassin's Creed, you can already see that the level of popularity for both those games is decreasing immensely. From each new game that comes out for them, popularity is slowly decreasing for each of them. And in terms of quality, yeah, of course, dude, every game developer focuses on quality. A big majority of them, specifically in this case with Insomniac. And you have to know what developer is developing the game that you want to buy, because then you can expect what the product is going to be. So for example, if I were to buy a Call of Duty game from Sledgehammer Games or Treyarch, it's like, okay, I've played 3 other past Call of Duty games, so I'm expecting that's what this new one is going to be like. And that's the case, because you've seen other Call of Duty games come out recently. It's like, yeah, that Call of Duty game was just like the last one I played. It's just that it has a new setting, and that's it. Nothing else. Same thing with Assassin's Creed. Oh, it's in Egypt now. Last time it was in London. The other time it was in France. Okay? That's what I feel with Assassin's Creed. Like, I've seen Assassin's Creed Unity and Assassin's Creed Syndicate, and I'm like, I have both those games, by the way. I've played both of them, and I see Origins right now, and I'm like, cool, Egypt, yeah, but I don't, you know, nothing stands out to me like, I want to buy this game instantly. Not for me, personally, for Assassin's Creed. And it's funny, because I'm a huge Assassin's Creed fan. I love Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed Brotherhood is actually my favorite Assassin's Creed game. But then I see Origins, I'm like, you know what, maybe I'll wait until it's on sale, or maybe it's on, like, like a Redbox or something. If you guys know what Redboxes are, they're like DVD stands where they sell games and or movies. Like, you know what, maybe I'll wait for a Redbox release of this game, then I can rent it and then take it back. But yeah, you know, with Spider-Man, it's so different, dude. Again, the fact that it's a PlayStation exclusive, it's from Insomniac, who, again, the problem with Insomniac, this is the thing that I admit, and I do agree with, is that Insomniac can deliver a game. Totally can deliver a game. Stories is the problem. When they've made the Ratchet & Clank games and Sunset Overdrive, they've had, you know, mediocre or average stories. So that's why that is a point that I do agree with people. Is like, oh yeah, you know what? The story of Peter Parker and Spider-Man's world colliding with one another from Insomniac may not be good. I'm like, you know what? Maybe. I get that because they're past games. No story from Insomniac has been like, this is one of the greatest narratives of any video game I've ever played. Because again, they've only made like Ratchet & Clank, Spyro, Resistance, and Sunset Overdrive. Resistance was a dark turn for their games, like a first-person dark shooter, and that's what the story was for the game with aliens. That was a dark turn for their stories, but overall the plot point was kind of, you know, average. And I agree with that. You know, some of their games haven't been the best, but the game itself, the game, you're playing the game is really good. Really, really good. Sometimes even great. Almost at the points with Game of the Year quality, like what they're at for, you know, Ratchet & Clank a PS4. That game was getting a lot of nominations from people because it was really great. But then, now with, Spider-Man PS4, it's like, what could they do with the story? Is it going to deliver? I don't know. I just have a lot of faith in it because what we've seen so far from them and what they've said is like, yeah, this has a lot of promise. And what, Brian Atar, the creative director of the game, says, we are looking at everything, and this game is big. This is a big game in terms of the scale of the map, which is going to be 4 to 6 times bigger than Sunset City, and also in terms of the story, with the characters that are going to be featured in the story, and the way that the narrative is going to be handled with Peter. So that's exciting, The story is my one problem that I'm like, you know what? I hope it's good. I really hope it's good. The gameplay, I'm like, no, I'm sold on the gameplay. Gameplay looks great. So that's why when your point with it has to be on the same quality of Assassin's Creed and Call of Duty in terms of popularity, I don't understand. I don't really, I'm sorry, dude. I just, Spider-Man's more popular than these games, dude. Anyways, Spider-Man is more popular as a character overall than Assassin's Creed and Call of Duty. A lot of MMO RPGers and MLG gamers play Call of Duty and like Overwatch, those games. And then, I guess hardcore gamers also play Assassin's Creed. I'm just a, average gamer, and I really do like Assassin's Creed. But in terms of popularity, these characters overall, when they're in these movies, and now they're going to be in these games, like Batman was with all of his Arkham games, it's like they're way more popular than these other series of games. So I don't understand what you meant by that. I'm sorry. See, next up he says he doesn't think that the game's exclusivity means much. So that means, again, Spider-Man PS4. It's a PS4 exclusive. It is only on the PS4. So sorry for you Xbox fans. It's never, ever coming to the Xbox One, XS, normal Xbox One. Sorry, it's not happening. It is an exclusive. And my point in a video that I did recently is that what makes Marvel's Spider-Man different? That's the title of my video. What makes it different is that, the last point that I said was that it is an exclusive. We've never seen that happen for a full game being extremely devoted and developed exclusively for one console. So it's like with Beanox when they made any of their games, pretty much, not just the Amazing Spider-Man games, but any of their games, they made it for the PS3, the PC, and the Xbox 360 because they have the different button prompts on screen and all stuff like that. But this is like, no, it's only being made only for the PS4. It's never going to be, oh, it was made for the PS4 and now it's going to switch over to Xbox One. That's never going to happen. Which is why, again, my point in that video that I made was look at all their past games with Sony as their brand and also with Insomniac with their brand as well. Ratchet & Clank was an exclusive. I believe Resistance was an exclusive. I'm pretty darn sure it was an exclusive. And then you also see the comparison with that to Sunset Overdrive, because Sunset Overdrive was an Xbox One exclusive. And you see the huge difference of games. That was like one of the biggest Xbox One exclusives that's ever, happened for their company, for Microsoft as a company. And then like, oh my god, we finally have an exclusive game. And then it came out and it was pretty good, but then the scores overall were like, yeah, it's good. It's great sometimes, but it's also, good. It's not the best, but it's pretty good. And then they see that with Sony, with their games, with Days Gone and Uncharted and Infamous, big games from different developers, all working directly, partnerships with Sony. Infamous, great story, great gameplay. Uncharted, fantastic story, awesome gameplay. Last of Us, one of the best stories in any video game ever. Rivals that of certain movie stories in today's standards. Last of Us, fantastic. So it's the same thing. Sony and Microsoft, their companies back and forth are different in regards to how they handle games. And he brought up a point of Crackdown 3. Crackdown 3, when they showed at E3 2017, looked exactly like Crackdown 2. And, well, Microsoft delayed it until, like, next year or something like that. They delayed it way off because people like, this looks bad. Yes, it does, because it looks like the old games. This was not the case with Spider-Man PS4. Sony is funding Insomniac with the research and the amount of funds that they do need to make this game as great as it possibly can be. That's the same thing when you hear Marvel and their game industry talk about that. Like, they're looking at everything, they are inspired, and they want to make the best game possible, and that's what they're doing with this game. And Sony, the fact that it's an exclusive, only tied to their console. So if you want to play Spider-Man nowadays, you have to buy a PS4. Not just this Spider-Man game. Not just this. The future Spider-Man games that are going to come out from Insomniac, because this is going to be a series of games. This is going to be a series. They're going to be only on the PS4. So they're showing that with all the other games they've done in the past, specifically what Insomniac games have done in the past, and they're implementing all that with Spider-Man. And it's going to be one heck of a cool experience since it is an exclusive. And again, that raises the opportunity for possible gameplay aspects, exclusive features on the PS4, you know, possible bundles, even though that doesn't matter in terms of the game. That's just a cool, like, prop thing. But yeah, you know, guys, that's another point that he made. He goes into list previous Spider-Man games that are better than Spider-Man 2, because in his video, he describes in his video why Spider-Man PS4 has to be better than Spider-Man 2 and why it needs to be better than Spider-Man 2. Yes, but the title of his video was why it will. And me personally, I don't think you answered why it will be. You just answered why it has to be and why it needs to be. The will part never came up. But in your video, in his video, he brought up different Spider-Man games in the past that have in fact beaten Spider-Man 2. Web of Shadows, Ultimate Spider-Man, and the old school Neversoft PS1 2000 Spider-Man games. Totally. Those games are fantastic. But you're acting, Venom, like it's the only game that matters for Insomniac. Like, oh, guys, I'm making a Spider-Man game, and we want it to be on par with Spider-Man 2. So the only game that we're going to look at throughout our entire 2-year-long development status, now it's 3 years because they started development in 2015. In January of 2015, they started development, and then Brian Intar was named creative director in October of 2014. So now, by the time it comes out in 2018, it's going to be like almost like 3 years, which is nuts. So for this, it's like they're not only looking at Spider-Man 2 to pass, dude. It's like, yeah, for me, everyone says that Spider-Man 2 is the best Spider-Man game of all time. For me, my personal favorite is, in fact, Web of Shadows. But for the game that does top, I think is the best Spider-Man game of all time, even though my personal favorite is Web of Shadows, I think the official best Spider-Man game of all time, above all else, is Ultimate Spider-Man. Original story, it's not a movie time game, swinging was great, combat was fun, story, like, blew my mind as a kid when I played that game. And yeah, that's what they're aiming for. Not in terms of Spider-Man 2, like, oh my god, people love the swinging in Spider-Man 2, so we're gonna make the swinging exactly like Spider-Man 2. No, even though Brian Intar, the creative director of the game, has said that his favorite Spider-Man game is, in fact, Spider-Man 2, and that they're looking at all the Spider-Man games. That's not the only game that matters. Everything matters, even the bad ones, dude. Even Spider-Man 3, the Amazing Spider-Man games, they're seeing, like, what they did wrong, and, like, okay, we can improve upon that and make it better 10 times over. And that's what they're doing now, while they're still working on the game when it comes out next year. And I just find that point kind of, strange. I brought that up already, like, I don't know if you think this or not, Venom, but it sounded to me that you think, like, they're only aiming for Spider-Man 2 and nothing else. So I don't agree with that at all. And now, that was all the main important points that he made in his video. Again, if I butchered them, I'm sorry. But those were the main primary points of his first video that he made. And now I'm going to read a comment that really, really showcases this video in a really great light. So, user MyVenom, he says, because Insomniac is a better developer than both Treyarch and Beyond. So that's why that was the answer to his title. So it's like, why Spider-Man PS4 will be better than Spider-Man 2. And then MyVenom's response was, because Insomniac is a better developer than both Treyarch and Beenox. Totally. Absolutely. And then Venom says, in this comment, he says, yet, gamers didn't care about them until they got Spider-Man. So he's saying, like, okay, so ever since Insomniac was the ones to say they're going to make a Spider-Man game, no one cared about Insomniac before then. Absolutely disagree with that. But before I say why, I'm going to read his following comments. So, MyVenom and him have a discussion again in the comments, and then he responds again to someone else by the name of the Pumao X. And Venom2000000's responds, who was talking about Insomniac the way people talk about them now when Spyro or Ratchet & Clank came out? What about Sunset Overdrive? Nobody. Right now, it's the game that they're making that has people talking about them. It has nothing to do with who they are as developers. There are very few developers that have weight with their name alone, and Insomniac currently is not one of them. So, again, we were in a live stream, talked about this. Doesn't sound like you listened to what I said. So, again, not only did they only work on Sunset Overdrive, Ratchet & Clank, Spyro, and Resistance, which you forgot about that one, but also is that the main one, when it was rumored that Spider-Man was going to be a PlayStation exclusive game, and it was being made. Like, it was a rumor back then. We had no idea what was happening. We didn't know who was making it. And we were like, okay, who are the possible candidates that could make a Spider-Man game? And that's when number one was Sucker Punch. That was everyone's guess. That was mine, too. is like, guys, Sucker Punch is making the Spider-Man game, okay? It's not anyone else, because Sucker Punch would be perfect. Then also others said Rockstar, Rocksteady, or Insomniac. Now, the reason why Sucker Punch is up there, because Infamous. Infamous was why, because they made a superhero game like Infamous, and people were like, oh my god, they have this in the bag. If they have Spider-Man, easily why? Because you can see from Infamous, it's like they got Spider-Man by, you know, they got him. Because it's going to nail him. The other one, Rockstar. Again, GTA made super awesome free open world games, and they're like, you know, if anyone can do a Spider-Man game with an awesome open world, it's Rockstar. Then, that was everyone other's choice is Rocksteady, who made all the Arkham games, all the Batman Arkham games. And people were saying, like, yep, that's the one. Rocksteady, hands down, should, in fact, and will, in fact, make a Spider-Man game because of Arkham, the great story, awesome map, great combat, great voice acting, you know, and it's like, that's what they did. Well, turns out we got Insomniac. And actually, for me, that was my second pick. I personally thought it was Sucker Punch. Didn't happen. It's Insomniac. And the reason why, this whole reason why, in Insomniac we trust. If it was anyone else, you know, if it was Sucker Punch who made the game, it's like, yeah, in Sucker Punch we trust. In whoever, is because I personally think that the developers, based on their past, based on what they've done, we can focus on what the pros of the game are going to be and what the flaws of the game might be. Not what they will be, but what they might be. So with Rocksteady, the biggest problem with Arkham Knight was that, oh, there was too much Joker, or there was too much Batmobile, you know? Sucker Punch with Infamous, they're like, you know, the main character, Delsin Rowe, in Second Son was kind of a tool. I didn't like him. Rockstar, it's like, well, people love Rockstar, so that's like, yeah, they focus on great open world maps and a great story, but that's it, you know, and, who's the other one, you know, well, I guess Insomniac, we saw what they did with their first free roaming game, their first ever open world game was Sunset Overdrive, and Brian Antar himself said after making this game, because Brian Antar was not the creative director of the game, he was mainly working on the Sunset Overdrive back then, so when he finished making the game, he sent them footage to Sony and Marvel saying, hey guys, I think we should make a Spider-Man game. And then Sony and Marvel were like, you know what? I think you're right, because Sunset Overdrive came out in October of 2014, and then The Amazing Spider-Man 2 came out in April of 2014. So it's like, you know what? Why don't we, you know, figure this out? You know, Amazing Spider-Man 2 didn't work. Given what you did with Sunset Overdrive with the way that the characters move and traverse around your big open world, that would fit really well with Spider-Man. It's not that, oh, they got lucky and landed a deal with Marvel and Sony to make a Spider-Man game. No, Marvel and Sony came to them and said, you know what, guys? You did a great job with Sunset Overdrive. Your traversal was spot on. Your story is really funny. And also what you've done in the past with Ratchet & Clank being a very childhood-friendly game, and with Resistance kind of being a darker tone and a mature story, and then also with Spyro just being really fun, I think you guys would be a really great pick for Spider-Man. And that's what happened. It's not like, oh, you want to make money from Spider-Man? Make this game. No. It's like, oh, they did a really great job with that past game. You guys should work on Spider-Man. Absolutely. And that's what happened, okay? It's not that, oh, they freaked out and they said, who are we going to pick? Oh, I don't know, just pick Insomniac and whatever. We want money from this. Absolutely not. No. So, yeah, that was his first video that he did. Then he made a second video, like a day later, a couple days later, saying why everyone should be critical of the PlayStation 4 Marvel Spider-Man game, Spider-Man PS4. I don't know why you just don't call it Spider-Man PS4. Do we all call it Spider-Man PS4? Even though the official name for it is Marvel Spider-Man, we all just call it Spider-Man PS4. So yeah, in this video, he brings up a ton of stuff, lots of different points, and he brings up DLC and Season Passes, and he's saying that because of DLC and Season Passes, games are being cut off. So a perfect one to talk about is basically Arkham Knight. Arkham Knight had like 50 different Batman skins and Batmobile skins and challenge maps and story missions for other characters, and it's like, you know what, buy the Season Pass, and you can get all these for a lesser price, but you gotta pay a lot of money first for the Season Pass. And again, that goes with the publishers. That goes with who's the publisher, and also who the developer is. So the publisher for Batman was Warner Brothers. They published the game. And the developers were Rocksteady. And like, you know what, we want to continuously have people pay for our products with Arkham Knight, and also that goes for Destiny, or Call of Duty, also freaking Call of Duty. Call of Duty has like, you want one color and one skin for this one gun, and also buy 50 different colors for 50 different guns. You're going to buy like $20 different worth of different guns. So that's Activision and Treyarch or Sledgehammer games that do that type of stuff. Insomniac have done like couple things in regards to DLC with mainly Sunset Overdrive. There was an extra boss with a DLC pack. And then weirdly enough, Ratchet & Clank PS4, there was an exclusive weapon that you could only get from pre-ordering the game, and you couldn't buy it as DLC. You could only get it as a pre-order thing, and that was it. So if you didn't pre-order it, you were kind of screwed. So that was weird. But again, nothing like that is happening or will happen for Spider-Man PS4. If anything, the only thing that there will be DLC for is extra story missions. Or maybe even alternate suits. I don't know. But the fact that you're kind of saying like, oh, they're going to make half of a game and then make the rest of the game with DLC. No, dude. Insomniac isn't known to do that, let alone Marvel Games, who's now stating that we are going to deliver these great experiences for gamers and our gaming community with the Avengers Project and Spider-Man PS4 and all the whatever games that they have in the future. It's like, that's what they're doing. It's not that, oh, yes, we're going to make half of Spider-Man PS4 and then have you pay $50 more for the rest of it with a DLC season pass. Absolutely not, dude. That's ridiculous. He made another point in regards to, he talked about a lot of different things in this video, guys. So again, please watch it on your own with his own commentary, and you'll see what I'm talking about. He says there's nothing to praise for Spider-Man PS4. So again, that kind of goes with your other point, saying that, oh, Spider-Man PS4, later on in this video, he says, oh, Spider-Man PS4, the E3 2016 trailer of Spider-Man PS4 looks like The Amazing Spider-Man 2. That's what he said, not me. I already did a whole video saying why that's not the case and what makes this game so much different from that game and the other Spider-Man games that we've had in the past. And sure, I guess I understand. There's nothing to praise like, oh my god, this is the reason why this game is going to be the greatest Spider-Man game ever made is because they have birds. Again, I already said in the last video I made, like, that's not the case at all with the bird situation. So, yeah, guys, it's just, in regards to praising. So, like, Uncharted, for example. Like, oh my god, Uncharted The Lost Legacy. Chloe's the main character, and so is Nadine, and that's why we should praise it. No, it's like, well, the fact that you would play as Chloe in a different setting with this whole India setting, where it's like, oh, wow, Uncharted has been in Nepal, and they've also showcased that in the Lost Legacy demo where they were, in fact, in India. But, like, that's the one where it's like, you should, in fact, praise the game for, like, wow, they took a different setting to go all the way in a place like India and showcase, like, oh, Chloe has a background with her father in India. So that's what really makes it kind of more of that, like, interactive and, like, wow, this is super different from the other past Uncharted games, not just because you're a girl, you're not Drake. It's like, wow, this story in general is, like, really different. It's the same thing here, dude. It's the same thing here with Spider-Man PS4. Again, the praising part for me, personally, is the parkour. I've never seen that in a Spider-Man game. Again, I've already said that when I saw that in the E3 2016 trailer where he's parkouring through the coffee shop, I cried. That was the moment where I was sold for the game. And yeah, again, I like the parkour. Looks awesome. I don't like how in the demo, there were no people in the office. That's an issue that you can point out. But saying there's nothing, absolutely nothing to praise about the game, no. We've already made, Spidey Squad and I have already made tons of videos talking about different aspects of the game that are new, different, influenced from the past games, but Insomniac's making it their own thing. Same thing with gadgets. Again, that's another one. That's not to praise, but it's like, wow, this is really different. A lot of stuff in this game is different. You can praise it or hate it, but I don't know. Personally for me, I'm really appreciating and liking what they're doing. Praising is just another aspect of it, I guess. I'm not too sure. You guys have your own thoughts about it. You guys may not like the way the suit looks. You guys may not like how the way the suit texture looks now, or how the way the city looks from last year to this year, or this year to last year. It's all in your opinion of how you view it. That's what matters. Let's see. He also talks about... Let's see. Sorry, guys. He also says... To quote him on this, he says, consumers should be critical and not easily swayed into buying things. Yes, of course, dude. If I saw this game, seeing the voice actor was the same voice actor from the Amazing Spider-Man games, or if I saw that WebRush was in the game, it's like, yeah, okay, now I have a problem. I literally spent a year of my life doing YouTube videos with nothing but my phone about this game, and if they showed it like it's the Amazing Spider-Man 2 all over again, I'm like, yeah, I have problems. Totally have problems. But it's not the fact that people in general are saying, oh my god, this game has 0 issues, and it's perfect in every way, and I'm going to buy the game because of that. No, dude, again, it's because that it's so different in regards to how other Spider-Man games have been made. Again, with the developer. The developer making the game makes or breaks the game. Again, you could see with Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice. I don't have the game, but I saw like a full playthrough of it, and Ninja Theory is the developer name for that game, and they nailed the story with the character's mental disorder, the way that Senua has this big mental complex. Really great in that game. Gameplay, though, looked really repetitive with the swords. The puzzles looked cool, but the combat with the sword combat, you do that over and over again. The final boss does that to no end. Spoilers, I guess, but still, it's like, you know, that's a difference with that. So we are being critical, dude. I've already been critical. I've already pointed out 5 flaws. I'll recap them right now. I don't like how the suit looks a bit different from last year to how it looked this year. I like last year's design overall. The logo, more of a nitpick for me, but I like the logo this year from last year. But the fact that they ended the trailer from last year with the old white logo looking like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man logo, and then they only did that for a year. And then they decided to change it, and we've already kind of associated this game with that older logo, and then they make a totally different logo. That's a personal flaw that I have. Another flaw is the swinging animations when he's doing the same spider pose in the air, nothing else. That's kind of an issue. But again, someone pointed out is that it might be like The Amazing Spider-Man where he does the pose at first, and then he might dive after he's in the air for a little bit. Another one that I had was the parkour office building, no people. The citizens in the street in the end of the demo where the helicopter tail was flying in the city street, and then you look on the side, and then there's people doing when there's a helicopter blade flying past, and they're just standing still, not caring. Again, issue. But again, they've already said 2 things. 1, that's an old build of the game. That's not the newer build. 2, they're still working on it. Every game has problems when there's demos. Still working on it. And also, again, the D23 footage that we saw is the more updated version. It's not the fully new, finalized version. That's the more updated version of the game. Suit looks much better. The graphics look great on the suit with the 3D, image of Spider-Man where he's doing the spider pose, the black background. That's not a concept art. That's the actual rendered, digitalized 3D model of the game. Looks great. And overall, tons of stuff you can be critical about. No one's saying, everyone has issues with anything. I have tons of problems with the new Spider-Man cartoon. I personally think the first episodes were garbage. But I think that now I saw a couple more episodes. I'm like, you know what? It's getting better. I still have lots of problems with it, but the newer episodes got better. And it's the same thing. It gets better over time. We haven't seen the full game yet. They're still working on it until next year. So that's another reason why you should not just say, oh, it's going to be like The Amazing Spider-Man 2. And again, I've already mentioned this totally different ballpark again. Amazing Spider-Man 2 movie tie-in game was rushed from Activision and had less funds from the publisher. They gave them less funds and less time to work on it than The Amazing Spider-Man 1. Here, it's a Sony exclusive, so Sony is providing Insomniac and Marvel with all the resources necessary to make this the best possible game that they can possibly make it. Still working on it. And having all the time in the world. That's why we see clearly it's coming out in 2018, not 2017, which I'm, again, heartbroken by. And, just tons of other aspects that we talked about in the live stream. Again, I feel like I'm a broken record. And on all my Spider-Man PS4 videos as well, I've said all this stuff. So, yeah, just be on the lookout, guys, for all the stuff that I said in my videos, and you'll understand what I'm talking about. Again, it's not a movie tie-in game. It's not anything like that, so they have all the time in the world to do it. He also said a lot of other things in this video. Brought up Crackdown 3. So in the video, Venom2000000's brought up Crackdown 3, and he said that, oh, people think it's bad, okay? Yes, because it looked exactly like the last one. Again, Xbox exclusive, like I've already said. Microsoft and Sony handled things totally differently in regards to their exclusive games. I think Sea of Thieves might be an exclusive, I'm not too sure. But, a game like that compared to Knack. Knack is a recent Sony exclusive that they made. Knack 2 just came out, I think, recently. And I'm like, yeah, that game looks exactly like the first one. But, there's co-op, so that's a different feature. And yeah, so again, that's a lower budget Sony exclusive. It's still a Sony exclusive, but not as the same level of the AAA game. Like Uncharted, Infamous, or now Spider-Man with Insomniac's games that are on exclusively on the PlayStation. They're not on that same level. Microsoft and Sony, totally different companies. Same thing with Apple and Samsung. The phones, totally different. My phone, iPhone, piece of garbage. Samsung's pretty darn good. So yeah, it's the same. It's the company's way of handling their product. Same thing with Microsoft. They're focusing on Minecraft. They freaking focused on Minecraft in E3 2017 or 2016, I mean, like an hour of the presentation with VR Minecraft stuff, and I'm like, that's really sad. And this, Sony is like, you know what? No, we got games. We got tons of games. We got exclusive games. A lot of these games are only exclusive on our system. And it's nuts. So, and they ended, for crying out loud, they ended E3 2017 with the demo for Spider-Man PS4. And they also technically ended E3 2016 with the Spider-Man PS4 trailer. Even though the last thing that we saw was a gameplay demo for Days Gone, the last new thing that was to be showcased off for the 2016 press conference for Sony was Spider-Man PS4's E3 2016 trailer. So that shows how much faith Sony themselves has with this product. And again, with the King ad, with the CGI King ad where Spider-Man swings and kicks those inner demons, that again is a King ad directly from Sony themselves, showcasing that Spider-Man is now a PlayStation mascot. That's why we saw him in the ad alongside of Kratos from God of War and Aloy from Horizon Zero Dawn. It's the same thing. It's not a low-budget game. It's not getting a lower treatment from these other games that we've had in the past. It's really different. It's a different situation. That's why I, personally, and the other Spidey Squad members are viewing this as such a different, as a different beast, a different animal to see and, in action. Let's see. You said people shouldn't care when there's no game news. So, again, I already brought this up. So, it sounds like in the video, when he's making this video, it sounded like you want them to showcase everything about the game. It's the same thing. Look at Final Fantasy VII, dude. Look at what Avengers Infinity War is doing. You think people are demanding the trailer, and then that, therefore, is going to have Marvel reveal that trailer? Dude, people have been complaining that they want to have the Infinity War trailer out for months now, and Marvel's like, nope, we're going to show it when the time is right and when we do more stuff with the game. Same thing with Kingdom Hearts, a game that Venom is excited about is Kingdom Hearts 3, and he thinks personally that game is like totally Game of the Year material, and thinks that game is so different, looks great. Me personally, I don't see that at all, because I've played both Kingdom Hearts games, and I'm like, yeah, cool, teacups and Toy Story and hammers, it's cool, but I'm like, yeah, I'll probably get it. I don't know if I want to get it the first day, but I'm like, I guess, I don't know. It's the same thing. Like, so if you're saying that people don't care about the game at all when there's no news, so that also goes for what topic you're discussing about. That's greatly for Avengers Project. I did not care about Avengers Project after a week it was announced, because, first of all, we had only a 52-second trailer for the game that only showed glasses from Hulk, Captain America's shield, Iron Man's gauntlet, Thor's hammer, have a lady narrate about the Avengers disassembled, and saying in the trailer itself, like, you're not going to get any more news until 2018. That's why I'm like, okay, I'll wait. I'm not excited until now. Recently, we got a bit more news from the game. I'm not like, wow, this game is going to be nuts and awesome. I'm like, no, okay, it looks cool. I'll wait until there's more stuff. But with Insomniac, with Spider-Man PS4, was totally different. They showed the trailer. They had 2 different interviews with the game. They waited 3 months. They showed more of the game. They talked about the graphics. They waited 2 other months. They showed the King ad. And yeah, like, they slowly updated fans about the game. And again, that also goes with Sony and Marvel games going back and forth with the marketing of this game. That's their choice, what they want to do, what they should have done, what they are going to do. Excuse me, and just other stuff in general, like, it's a different thing. That's why in the Year of the Silence, that's what the Spidey Squad and I call it, the Year of Silence, where they showed the trailer in E3 2016, then they showed 3 months later a 30-second clip of the game on the PS4 Pro, then they waited 2 months later to show a 5-second clip of the game as a CGI advertisement, and then we waited all the way until E3 2017 for more of the footage. That made me, obviously upset. That's why I got super upset that the game's coming out next year in 2018 instead of this year. But again, it's different than all the other Spider-Man games, and you can't demand the game to have more news. And if people are excited about the game, that's awesome, because that shows, hey, people love Spider-Man. Super awesome. I can't wait for this game to come out. Same thing with the movie. Same thing with Batman. Batman Arkham Knight came out and then was awesome, and then there's the rumors about Warner Brothers Montreal making a Batman game, and then there's no news. There's like Slick Moth did awesome videos about it, Salvage as well, saying that, oh, the game's going to get a reboot, or it's going to be, we got a canceled Suicide Squad game, and then, you know, there's this new Batman game or not, we still don't know. So that is understandable, but still, it's like, what, dude? You can't just say that people aren't excited about it because there's nothing to talk about. There's tons of stuff to talk about, and there's tons of things to go over with even the E3 2016 trailer and the interviews. Again, I have no idea if Venom, if you have watched all the interviews, literally, not the one from last year that I put clips on in my videos, literally, you need to watch all of these interviews if you want to stay updated on the game, and then you can talk about it. If a player is playing the game and then sees the white spider symbol and says, what the hell, why is there a white spider symbol, because they haven't watched the interviews, then they won't know that that's part of the story. There is a story purpose because of the white spider symbol. And that is Insomniac's job, eventually, when the game comes out, to say, the white symbol has a meaning for the story. There's a reason why the symbol's there, and that is their job to talk about it in the game, for the story. But me, as a content creator and as just someone who's interested in this game, I want to learn more about it, and I want to learn what the people who are making it are saying about it. And I wouldn't know that the logo is a part of the story, and I wouldn't know that they made the squinty eyes before Homecoming. They made that before Spider-Man was introduced in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That's another thing I wouldn't know about if I hadn't watched the interviews. So that's their own original idea before Marvel Studios did it. So it's this big back-and-forth relationship with all these facts and all this information, and I get that. You yourself, as a fan, if you're not super dedicated to this game like I am and the rest of the Spidey Squad am, then yeah, just wait until more news comes out, and then you'll be happy with it. But if you do want to research about it, then yeah, look at the interviews, and look at their Twitter posts, and follow each individual person on Twitter. Follow Sophie Brennan, follow Xavier CK, follow Ryan Beno, follow John Paquette, follow Bill Roseman, follow Brian Intihar, follow probably a bunch of other, Gavin Goulden, James Stevenson, Tiffany Chu, the newest woman who joined, Jacinda Chu, who's the art director of the game. You know, all those people, you'll be super informed about the game and talk about tons more of, information if you follow them and actually listen to what they're saying, because they're making the game. Even though it is odd that no one has said officially yet from Insomniac or Marvel that Yuri Lowenthal is the official voice for Spider-Man in the game. No one said that. But we can clearly tell that that's who the voice actor is because we can recognize his voice. But the developers and publishers aren't saying that. So that is weird. I don't understand why they're doing that, but it's probably something that they're going to do in the future. It might be a behind-the-scenes trailer where they're interviewing Yuri Lowenthal. They reveal Peter Parker's face. They show what he's going to do in the game. They might talk about what his role is going to be. They might talk about what Yuri Lowenthal has done to prepare for this role, because they already said in interviews, Brian Intihar has said, since he's working directly with Yuri Lowenthal, he says that, Yuri's a person who's, he didn't say the name Yuri, but he says, our voice actor for Spider-Man, he's really enveloped in the role. He's really dedicated to this cause for our game. He wants to immerse himself in the character, and he wants to do him justice. That's awesome. That's super cool. That's the same thing with Josh Keaton when he was working on Spectacular Spider-Man, and when he was in Edge of Time. Same thing with Christopher Daniel Barnes when he did his own Spider-Man show, and the both Beanox Spider-Man games, Shared Dimensions and Edge of Time. Awesome. It's the same thing here, and that's really, really cool that Yuri Lowenthal is going that full extra mile to be really passionate about the game to showcase a really great experience. That's the same thing that goes with Nolan North in Uncharted, where he's playing Nathan Drake, which is pretty much Nolan North already, since he is pretty much Nathan Drake. And also for Insomniac, to relate that back to Insomniac, that also goes with James Arnold Taylor, who's the voice of Ratchet from Ratchet and Clank. And it's a great way on how James Arnold Taylor is showcasing his passion for the character when he spent years playing Ratchet from Ratchet and Clank. And that was the same thing when he was doing Ratchet and Clank PS4. He's like, oh my god, I'm back. I haven't done a Ratchet and Clank game in years, so I want to, immerse myself back in this world and this role to do it justice. And that's the same thing that's going to happen here with the voice, with Yuri Lowenthal as Peter Parker. Let's see. He continues by saying, sorry, guys, there's a lot of notes here. I'm sorry. If I stay quiet, I apologize. He says, if Insomniac made the suit white, the logo white, and then everyone in the world, if everyone in the world said, that suit is flat out garbage. I hate that suit looks stupid, I don't like it, it's dumb, it looks awful. He's saying, if everyone said that in the entire world, Insomniac would change it. No, dude, again, I don't know if you've seen all the interviews. I clearly think you haven't seen them. Brian Intihar and John Paquette, the writer, said, we got so many comments in the E3 2016 trailer saying people were divided about the suit. They said that the white logo looks weird. They said that the weird pant line with the red line, the shoes look stupid. And they said, well, sorry, we're keeping it because it's our game. We're telling our story. The suit has a meaning for the story, why it looks like that. And we're just going to do our own thing because it's our game. They're not saying, oh my god, we need the fans' input to make sure that the game is perfect because we want to get money and we want to make a profit because we want this game to be totally awesome. No, dude. Look at the situation with Spider-Man UE4. If any of you Spidey Squad members are out there, if you're watching this Godzilla Mendoza, you know exactly what I'm talking about, which is why another point that he brought up of the game is the biggest issue that I have with it. He says that, Venom says, you say that the developer of this game should ask us, the fans, what we want. Do you know how redundant that is, dude? If we were to have 50 people in one room, and Insomniac said, okay, each of you guys tell us one thing that you like about the game and dislike about the game, and we will change the game based on what your feedback is. We would have the worst game in the universe, because people would say, I love the suit, and like, no, the suit's garbage. It was like, well, I love Yuri Lowenthal as the voice actor. Like, no, I want Josh Keaton. Oh, the eyes moving, they look great. Like, no, they look stupid. The city is you know, not big enough. It's like, oh no, it should be smaller. That is ridiculous. And why I brought up Spider-Man UE4 is that exact same situation happened with Spider-Man UE4, where the developers asked fans what they want, and bam, got out of business. And if you're watching this, anyone from Spider-Man UE4, yeah, your game was never, never gonna launch, okay? Failed project right off the bat. Jeez. It makes me, like I'm blushing right now because it's too funny, that whole situation with that stupid game. My god, it's like bootleg Spider-Man PS4, and that's what happened. One of the reasons, not only because it was like one of the Flash games, like the Spider-Man PC Flash games, because of how bad it was also because of like, oh, they asked fans, like, do you guys want to have the Spider-Man Homecoming suit? Do you want to have combat that is like the Arkham combat? And boom, it failed. It's totally failed because it sucks. So that's the same thing here, dude. You can't demand that fans should be the purpose of what the game is. That's the developer's job. That's the same thing with movies or any form of media. Like, people hate Dan Slott. Godzilla Mendoza hates Dan Slott. Josh from the Spidey Squad, Spidey Skater Boy, hates Dan Slott. People hate on him all the time, yet he's still making comic books. So clearly, fans' input isn't working because they're still doing it and they are doing whatever they want because it's their product. It would be great if we got a feedback saying, you know what, Insomniac, I personally don't like how there's no people in the office building in the E3 2017 demo. Could you please add more people in the building when we're parkouring? And it's like, you know what? Guess what? They're still working on the game. The demo wasn't finished. The game itself is still being developed. So it's like, oh, well, surprise, Evan, we actually are already putting people in the office building because we're working on that. And it's like, oh, great, because you know that Spider-Man is awesome. You guys love Spider-Man yourselves. I don't have to tell you what to do because you are more Spider-Man fans than I am because you're older than me. You've read more comics than me probably. And you just know how the character operates, and you know how a game operates since you are game developers. So they're like, yeah, of course we need people in the office building, and of course we need people to not blindly react to the helicopter tail in the middle of the road and not do anything. Like, yeah, they're working on it, dude. The biggest point that I can keep on saying is that if you have a problem with it, that's why the In Insomniac We Trust hashtag exists, because we're faithful to them. I believe in them. I think they can do this as a really great game, and, you know, I am highly optimistic about the game. I'm not, you know, saying that, oh my god, anyone who hates this game is dead to me. I'm saying, no, I'm excited. I've done my research. I'm logically seeing on what Insomniac games have done in the past. Because me personally, again, I don't know if Venom, if you've done it, or Amazing Lucas, or anyone else who's cautiously optimistic. I've played a lot of Insomniac's games. I've played Sunset Overdrive. I've played all the Ratchet & Clank games. I have only played a little bit of Spyro and a little bit of Resistance. But the main ones that they've worked on are Ratchet & Clank, and then the most recent one that they worked on is Sunset Overdrive, and that's the one that's the most important one, since that is a free-roaming game. And yeah, it's like, that's, given what they've done there, and they're doing it here again, except, again, it's not a Microsoft game, it's a Sony game. They're not being rushed. They have tons of money to make this a best game that they possibly can, and they're passionate about it. With Sunset Overdrive, they also liked it but they were, kind of like, forced by Microsoft, like, oh, you want to make this game? Make an Xbox exclusive. Whereas Sony is like, oh, if you want to make a Spider-Man game, it would have to be on our console. It's like, Insomniac, would you like to make a Spider-Man game? We're like, okay, sure. It's like, great, but it has to be on the PS4. And like, okay, sure, because they worked on tons of PlayStation exclusive games in the past. Again, Resistance and Ratchet & Clank. All the Ratchet & Clank games are on PlayStation in general. So yeah, it's like, that's another reason. Let's see. If he says, to quote him again, if people weren't impressed, we'd have a whole bunch of info right now. Again, dude, I already said this. Final Fantasy VII. We haven't had anything from that in ages, dude. Ages. And people are still devoted to that game. And I'm like, wow, they're remastering or remaking. Actually, it's not a remaster, my bad. It's a remake of Final Fantasy VII. It's like, dude, they're building it from the ground up. And we've only seen one little demo of it from the PlayStation experience and couples of screenshots. And that's it. And people are still saying, where's more of this game? I want this game. Square Enix, what are you doing to me? I want more Final Fantasy VII. And, oh, you know what? They're not doing it because they're making the game. They're working on it. Same thing with Death Stranding. Anyone remember Death Stranding from Hideo Kojima? I'm hyped as a mother trucker for that game. And there's nothing. We only had the trailer from E3 2016 and another trailer from the Game Awards last year. And that's it. Nothing. I don't know if it's canceled. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what the story is at all. And people are demanding that game. Same thing with Last of Us 2. There's tons of games I can do this for. And we're not getting anything. Dude, so that's just kind of like, that's kind of nagging in a way. It's like, oh my god, I need this game. I need this game. I need this game. I need this game. I need more information. Give me more information. They're not going to give it to you, dude. You got to wait. That's the same thing. Events are in October. New York Comic-Con and Paris Games Week are coming up soon. That's when we can probably expect more of the game. It's already September 9th. So just wait, like, less than a month and see what happens. And again, we already got E3 2017 demo. And we also got a month later, we got the D23 footage. And also a little less than a month later, we also got the San Diego Comic-Con concept art and information about the game. So we're getting stuff, okay? You just got to be patient and wait for it. And again, that's another reason. I don't know if you've seen the D23 footage. I don't know if you've seen the San Diego Comic-Con panel where they're talking about the game. They show one new piece of concept art from Mr. Negative, and then they talk about more information. They're not showing a lot, but they're talking a lot, and that's just as important as seeing more of the game, because you can expect what they're going to do and what you can see next. So that's the important aspect of it. To continue with what he's saying, guys, I know this video is an hour long. I highly apologize. Let's see, I'm sorry. He says in this final quote, one of the biggest quotes he says is that consumers allow the developers to exist. They are a reason, yes, but the publishers themselves also allow the developers to exist. That's why Radical Entertainment, one of my most favorite game developers of all time, doesn't exist anymore because Activision sucks so bad. If you don't know who Radical Entertainment is, they made Incredible Hulk Ultimate Destruction. That is the best Hulk game ever made. And they also made some of my favorite games of all time, the Prototype series. They made Prototype 1 and 2. Love both those games. Second one was alright. First one's my favorite. And we thought, oh, that game sold... That game, Prototype 2, sold incredibly well. That game sold more than expected, actually, from what the original prices were predicted to be. And then, surprise, surprise, Activision's like, you know what? Sorry, guys. We're going to shut down your whole studio to focus more on Call of Duty. And that pisses me off to no end. And Sony doesn't do that. Sony are the publishers to give these developers the room to breathe, the opportunity to showcase their vision on what they want to do, what their passion is, and have them fully showcase that in whatever way possible. And that's why I'm fully excited about this game. That's why I have so much faith in them, because the people behind this game. And the same thing Venom said, the developer doesn't matter. People weren't focusing on Insomniac before they got Spider-Man PS4. Again, I don't think that, because they were one of the top... They were in my top 3 people on who could make the rumored Spider-Man game at the time. Number 1 was Sucker Punch. Number 2 was Insomniac. And number 3 was Rocksteady. Number 3 would have been Radical Entertainment if they weren't freaking shut down. But number 2 is Insomniac, and it's like, sweet, I know exactly what we're going to get. They're going to do what they did with Sunset Overdrive with the parkour. They're going to do with their humor with Ratchet and Clank. They're going to do a kind of a mature story with Resistance, and they're going to have a lot of fun with all their games, but mainly with Spyro. That was a lot of fun with that game, based on what I've seen from it. I haven't played it myself. I played like a little bit of it, but not a full game of it. That's why, dude. That's why. I've done my research. I've played their past games. If you've played developers' past games, you'll know what you're expecting. Same thing. Perfect reference. Sly Cooper. Sucker Punch made Sly Cooper, and then they made Infamous. At the time, I was what was I? I was 11 years old at the time when Infamous 1 came out. I still was kind of processing stuff. I didn't know that Sucker Punch were the developers of Sly Cooper, and then they made Infamous. I was like, dude, the way that Cole McGrath is standing in Infamous kind of reminds me of Sly Cooper. And I'm like, oh my god, it is. Sucker Punch made Sly Cooper. So it's the same thing here, dude. It's like you can see what they've done in the past, and then you can see what they can do with the future, okay? So Sunset Overdrive, great traversal, okay story, crazy weapons, Ratchet and Clank, super fun, really great stories, really fun gameplay. Resistance, mature, dark story, differentiation of gameplay with guns, because it is a first-person shooter, and again, if you guys know me, I don't like first-person shooters. And then Spyro, just a kid's game, really fun, really memorable, in my opinion, just like Crash Bandicoot or Sly Cooper was, it's like that. And yeah, that's the level of research you gotta, make sure that you do for the game, or at least for the company that's working on whatever game you're excited for. Because again, Warner Brothers Montreal, they did Arkham Origins, and then what we've heard from Slickmoff with his information that he got from some leaks or teases of the game, it's like, oh, it could be a bigger map. It's gonna have a female black mask. It's like, ooh, okay, that's interesting. So it's all the research that you gotta do for the past games that they've worked on, what they're working on now. And the one point I do agree with, though, throughout this whole video, is that if it's too early from the game, then don't announce it. Yes. However, this is me personally, though. Again, this is all me personally. If they did not announce the game at E3 2016, I would not be here making YouTube videos in general. I wouldn't be in the Spidey Squad. The Spidey Squad probably wouldn't exist if I didn't see this game announced and want to say, you know what, this game is so cool. But then when I saw the trailer for E3 2016, it's like people were saying that it was a Spider-Man Homecoming movie time game. They were saying that Ben Reilly was Spider-Man since they thought the suit with the white spider symbol looked like Ben Reilly. And I'm like, okay, these people are stupid. They also thought that the heavy inner demon in the E3 2016 trailer was Rhino. I'm like, are you blind? So I'm like, I gotta do videos on this. And I started with my phone, nothing else. And then surprise, surprise, here I am, being able to talk to all you amazing individuals. And lucky enough, Insomniac, I'm lucky enough to have Insomniac shout me out, have Marvel Games shout me out, have them shout out the Spidey Squad, recognize us. That means the entire world to me. Beyond belief. You guys can't even imagine how ecstatic I am about the fact that they actually recognized our small little community of Spider-Man fans, and that they take the time to recognize us and actually say, you know what, guys, you're really cool. And they shout us out in the video that said the Spidey Squad. So that's again me personally. But I do agree with him saying that if it is too early, you should announce it. I think they should have announced it at the PlayStation Experience last year, and then they should have showed it off when they did at the demo of E3 2017, and then have the interval. So they should have had the demo in 2017, but then they should have the trailer in December of 2016. Then they should have the PS4 Pro clip in March of 2017, and then they should have had the King ad in May of 2017, then bam, the demo. So that would have been fine. But the fact that we did wait for a year with a little bit of news, enough news to make all the videos that I have made on this game to make new videos on, but still the little bit of news we got wasn't enough for the standard fan or for people who aren't YouTubers like myself. So that I do agree with Venom. Overall, guys, watch his videos. You may love them, you may not like them. I, again, was in a live stream with him, and I personally think that he didn't listen to what I was saying. I hope I responded to his video, of your video, Venom, in a proper way. Again, not trying to hate on him, but again, it didn't sound like you kind of took in what I was saying. Again, this video is an hour long, so I do apologize. If we want to do another live stream, again, Venom, if you want to invite the Spidey Squad and I to another live stream, I'd be more than happy to be a part of it. And yeah, guys, that was it. I know this video is probably way too long. I highly apologize. Again, subscribe to Venom. Watch his videos on the game. He does have some good points. But overall, the main aspects of the video I have a lot of problems with. But anyways, Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Stay tuned for Radioactive Replay for Edge of Time. That's going to happen next on the channel. I may do some more Spider-Man PS4 videos. Again, stay tuned for October for New York Comic Con and Paris Games Week, where we might get more information on the game. Stay spectacular, Spidey fans. Peace out.